Welcome all you homeschool sports fans. In just the second ever homeschool basketball video, we are going to be covering the 2014 and 15 final national rankings. I'm really excited today. We covered national number 1 and number 2 in the first video, and that was the Oklahoma City Storm, the undisputed homeschool basketball national champion, and Houston CHSM Crimson Knights. Today we are searching for number 3. And this is important because number 1 and number 2 are a little bit more clear-cut. Number 3, I had 4 different teams that received serious consideration. We had teams from Kansas, the Kansas City Metro Mavericks, Tennessee, the Nashville NCC Warriors, Indiana, the Indianapolis Wildcats, and Wisconsin's Lakeshore Thunder. And it was one of those that I had to do a lot of research on, do a lot of looking around, and a big part of that was the Nashville NCC Warriors sustained a major injury to Caleb Hollander, and he was unable to play, and we'll talk more about Hollander and Nashville in later videos. But today we're going to focus on who the third best homeschool basketball team of the 2014 and 15 season was, and mention the 4 different teams that received serious consideration. In fact, I had an opportunity to talk to all 4 coaches before putting together this video, and I'm going to be taking a look over this way from time to time as I just go over my notes. And the bottom line is, Coach Mark Madsen, when I had an opportunity to talk to him, he made the statement, you have to play whoever is in front of you. And with that in mind, that kind of is a perfect segue into the national number 3 spot. It's going to be the Lakeshore Thunder. It is the highest ever ranking for the Lakeshore Thunder in their program history. It's their highest ever finish. And it was really just a historical year that accumulated at the national tournament. Lakeshore Thunder built off of the 2014 NCHBC Class 3A quarterfinal loss to the Aggieland Panthers. It really was a disappointing loss for a Lakeshore team that came in with high, I think the right word there was just high expectations. It was really a deal where I actually had a chance to watch that at NCHBC 2014, and Aggieland and Lakeshore, both teams were very evenly matched, and it was a back-and-forth game. It was a rather ugly game. Neither team did a whole lot offensively, and both teams played well on defense, but in the end, Aggieland got the win. But Lakeshore built off of that, and I think that any great team, any team that reaches a level of success, you can always go back to maybe a year that they didn't experience that success before they were able to build off of it. And so that was one thing with Lakeshore that I really noticed was just an amazing difference between the 2014 Lakeshore team and the 2015 Lakeshore team. And that year, 2014, Coach Matt Madsen, that was his last year with Lakeshore. His twin brother, Mark Madsen, is in the 2014 and 15 season was the head coach, but they were I believe co-coaches in the 2013 and 14 season. And I know that Coach Matt watched all the games, not just Lakeshore's games, but all the games at home. He's now with Maranatha, and he's moved up into the college ranks, and I know that he had an opportunity to watch a lot of the games, if not all of them, and his brother got plenty of text messages during their own games and about information. In fact, Coach Matt is how Mark knew about Caleb Hollander not being able to go in the game against Nashville. That we'll get to that in just a minute. But Lakeshore was the Class B gold ball national champion, and their ride there, they knocked off the Wright County Warriors in the Class B gold ball game, and that was a team that had pulled off some upsets. In fact, knocked off Minnesota's North Metro Blazers in the semifinals. And sometimes when you see upsets, you get a little bit more of a lopsided championship game, and that's what happened. Lakeshore really made the most of it. They didn't just come in and think, oh, got an easy game. They made it an easy game. They took a 20-point win and were one of the few blowouts of Wednesday's gold ball action. They then used that, and they went into the gold ball showdown series quarterfinals, where they played Nashville NCC Warriors, who all season long, they were one of those teams that just a lot of people felt could do some damage at the national tournament. And Nashville had never made the national Final Four, but they believed this was their year. And frankly, we got a chance to see why when they played Lakeshore, because without Hollander, they erased a 10-point deficit and took a 10-point lead of their own in the second half. And Lakeshore was able to respond, and a huge part of that was Zach Ramos, and we'll get a chance to talk about that just a little bit more. But once Lakeshore got past Nashville, the next opponent in the Gold Ball Showdown Series semifinals was the Houston CHSM Crimson Knights, and the winner of that game went on to play in the undisputed national championship game. And Lakeshore and CHSM was one of the best games of the year, and that came down to a shot with 2.5 seconds left that CHSM hit. That was the game winner that sent them on to the undisputed national championship game. And so Lakeshore, after that loss, they rebounded very nicely in the game against the Indianapolis Wildcats, one of the hottest teams all year long. And the Midwest was loaded this year, and the MCHC conference was loaded. The Nashville NCC Warriors, who we talked about, they were the Midwest regional champion. Lakeshore finished as the consolation champion in the same region, and yet at nationals they knocked them off. In the MCHC, the regular season and tournament champion Indianapolis Wildcats was who Lakeshore played for third place in the Gold Ball Showdown Series, and they avenged an earlier season loss to the Indy Wildcats that took place in the MCHC conference semifinals. So really big for Lakeshore, but most impressive is Lakeshore's preseason ranking was number 13. They dropped in December after struggling at tip-off down to 21, and then they rebounded and got back up to 12, and I believe in February they were at number 17. But they never cracked the top 10 all season long. But they managed to not just crack the top 10, but burst through and get up to the National Final Four and make Wisconsin homeschool basketball history, winning the first ever gold ball for Wisconsin homeschool basketball, first ever trip to the National Final Four, and highest ever finish and ranking of any Wisconsin homeschool basketball team. So the Lakeshore Thunder, just a historical run, and I know that Coach Mark Matson is so proud of his team. And actually, I want to just take a minute and talk about the passion that Coach Mark Matson has. He had, when we were on the phone, he shared a quote with me about what Coach K said the keys to winning are. And the key to winning is passion and preparation. And in my conversation with Coach Matson, it was infectious. I mean, you talk about someone that will get you fired up. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is, where you are. He gets you fired up, and he loves talking about homeschool basketball, his own team, the Lakeshore Thunder. But he cares more about the sport, too. And, man, just so much passion, and he's a film junkie, so the preparation. And you saw that the success that Lakeshore had was no fluke. The scary thing about it is what they have returning. They lost a couple key players, but they do return quite an impressive group of team. First, I've got to say, a lot of coaching changes going on in homeschool basketball, but don't worry, Lakeshore fans, Mark Matson will be back along with Noah Stalker, who are both going to be just pushing this team. I know in the summer they're working with trainers, they're working hard, they're pushing their players, and why wouldn't they? With the success they had, they want to continue to build, but it starts here. It starts with that passion, and that is something that this coaching staff has, and that's what's exciting. And then you add the fact that they returned Zach Ramos, who I mentioned earlier just for a minute. Zach Ramos, he stepped up huge in the Nashville game. Offensive threat always. Defensively, he showed what he's capable of in the moments that matter the most. And the bottom line is that his team needed him and to step up and guard number 0 for Nashville, who was just torching them on the offensive end for the NCC Warriors. And Ramos stepped up, and when he went on to guard him, made a huge impact. The thing about it is when Ramos went and started guarding him, the key with that was that there was all their better players, all their post players were in foul trouble. Ricky Wright will be back, 6'10". Ricky Wright, yes, that's right. If you didn't get a chance to see him at Nationals, don't worry, you'll get a chance to see him this next year. He is. They're working with him very hard and getting lateral movement. I believe they're working on the drop step dunk with him. That's going to be very exciting to see. But with Ramos, the one thing I did forget to mention, I don't want to forget to, is he didn't just step up on the defense end. He does what he does on the offensive end. Big threes and ones, finding the players, just all-around production from him. Ricky Wright will be back. Jonas Stalker will be back. And Noah Zelko, also known as the sharpshooter. And he's been that since he was a freshman. And those are all returning starters. Jonathan Pearson will be moving on, and that will be he's a great player, and they will be missing him. But they have some great contributors returning in Noah Aldridge, who's returning from a broken foot, Trevor Bowman, Nick Palmerini, and senior Anthony Radwill will be returning. Another thing that's really exciting for Coach Matson is he has 7 seniors. He's never had that many seniors. In fact, since he's been coaching the senior high, they've usually had a huge returning cast, but 7 seniors, check this out, that all played for him in 7th or in 8th grade when he was coaching there. That's exciting for a coach that's so passionate to be working with players. On top of that, they're really excited about Elijah Whiteshirt. I believe I'm saying his name right. If not, I'm sorry. But Elijah is a young, talented player coming up that's only a sophomore, 6'4", 6'5" athlete that they are thrilled and expect him to step up and become a big-time contributor, maybe even fight for a starting spot. Also, there's potential of a couple players who won gold ball with Lakeshore in 16 and under. That's right. Lakeshore is just another one of those teams that had success in the 16 and under age group and then built off of it. And we'll be talking a lot about that. The Oklahoma City Storm, the Nashville Warriors, these programs that build at the younger age groups, have success, win gold balls, and then it translates into the next age group. Before I run out of time here and let you go, I want to mention a couple other things. And I think this is something that Coach Matson stressed was a building point. The MCHC third place game, after losing to the Indianapolis Wildcats that we mentioned in the MCHC conference, they played the Northwest Indy Warriors. Lakeshore played the Northwest Indy Warriors. And when they played the Northwest Indy Warriors, they ran into a game that they just weren't very motivated to play, and they got blown out. Coach Matson said that was such a motivation for them as they used that in their third place game at Nationals, and what a difference it made. I mean, Indy Wildcats during the year beat them. Indy Wildcats beat them again at Nationals. That's who's at number 3, but instead Lakeshore takes that spot. And I have one last tease for all you Lakeshore fans, and if you're just a Midwest fan watching this, a little bit scary here. Look out for the 2015-16 Lakeshore Thunder's new offense. I will not give away the name of their new offense and defense, but Coach Matson is beyond fired up about it. And with the returning talent that he has, I believe that this could be the best ever Lakeshore Thunder team we've ever seen. And considering their ceiling, it could be scary. This is the type of team that not only is going to be favored to return as a gold ball champion, but they could be favored to make the National Final Four after being the upset, the Cinderella story of the tournament. Could be favored to make the National Final Four and maybe even take that next step. So make sure to check out our next video. We'll be going over National number 4 and who that might be. You might have a really good idea, but we will talk about all the thought process that went into that. Thank you for watching. We'll be seeing you soon.